All right, it's 12 minutes after 7. My colleague said Kwame Boateng, who went around the prisons in the country, bringing us a lot more details of what we would otherwise just be hearing from people who've been there before as inmates, is joining me. We will show that documentary set. We're showing it today?
Yes, this evening, 7 p.m.
Okay.
It's in 2 parts. Part 1 today, part 2 tomorrow. Same time, 7 p.m. on Joy News Channel. Okay.
So I have to ask you, Seth, how did this whole experience change you? Are you a changed person after touring these places?
Yeah. I spoke to one of the inmates who told me that, well, never even curse your enemy to come here. Never curse your enemy to come here. I've learned that if somebody insults me, I should not even insult back. The best I can do is to report the person to the police. If people are fighting, if possible, I should walk away, because you might attempt separating them and you will also be picked up as being among them. Because I saw a number of inmates who told me, though I can't verify, that people were fighting, they went there to separate them and they were arrested. We have been in prison as remand prisoners for years. For years. Some were granted bail, they couldn't meet the bail conditions. So for 10 years, they are still in prison. No lawyers, they can't find their prosecutors. They don't know when they will go to court again.
Is this one particular prison story you're sharing with us, or
no,
this cuts
Mama,
across?
You know, I first went to Navrongo with the Interior Minister somewhere in August. I got there, I saw the conditions, then I was like, wow. So these are what the things happening here. So I was able to convince the minister and the prisons administration to allow me to enter the prisons. So I went to, apart from Navrongo, I've been to Tamale Central Prisons, Sunyani Central Prisons, Kumasi Central Prisons, and then Sawam Central Prison. So I can talk of 5 prisons.
That's a lot. The story is the same?
The story is the same.
You know,
those in Sawam are even better.
In terms of what? In terms of
the environment, the conditions there, they are way, way better. I think they are living in paradise.
In the promo, which we've been running for a while now, you see that there are a lot of people crowded in one room, trying to fund themselves with their clothing and stuff. Typically, what kind of room is that?
Well, that was the Sunyani Central Prisons. And in that room, a room which ordinarily should accommodate about 5, we saw about 48 inmates in that room. There, I would say they are better. In Kumasi, it's worse. Where Kwaka say worse, it's worse.
Is it the same?
It's not the same size. No, it's not the same size. Maybe the Sunyani one is even bigger than the Kumasi one. And there, 75, 70 people or inmates share one room. So some stand till the next day, others squat till the next day.
Amazing.
And some have been in for 8 years, 7 years, 10 years. And for 5 years, they have never been taken to court.
But they're all on remand. So these are not people who have been convicted. Sentenced.
They have not been convicted. And I can tell you that some of them, their families don't even know where they are, because some were traveling, they got to a point, they were arrested, so they couldn't continue.
Wow. Amazing. Well, I'm trying to soak, all these in, but I want us to watch a longer version of what we've been showing for some time now. And then this evening, we will start showing the full documentary. Seth says this is part 1 of it, but just watch this.
As at December 2014, we have a total prisoner population of 15,014 in our custody. The capacity of our prisons in this country can hold only 9,875.
There are nearly 3,000 remand inmates in Ghana's prisons. Some have been locked up for years.
The large numbers of our prison inmates are those on remand. A number of them have expired warrants. Indeed, some of them have spent more years on remand than would have suffered if they had been convicted on the offenses they have been charged with. Why do we put people on remand for so long, denying them of their freedom? Is this the justice we want for our country?
I'm 28 years.
Okay. Where do you come from?
I come from Accra.
Accra?
Yeah.
Okay. For how long have you been here?
4 years. No police station, no court.
Why?
I don't know. Since my CI bring us for here. You know, come back. He said 4 years.
Judges and police prosecutors are greatly blamed for this.
Some are charged with things that are not offenses, or offenses that have been created by the police themselves. This is a country regulated by law. And when it comes to criminal law, offenses must be clearly postulated. They are clearly stated by law. The punishment will know their offenses. But to some extent, you can see that the police will formulate some charges that are not found in any of their statute books.
All these inmates are fed by the state on a daily basis. At least for convicted prisoners, the state can benefit from their incarceration. Some are used to do laboring jobs such as weeding and cutting of logs to generate money for the state. But for the over 3,000 remand prisoners, they cannot be used for any activity because they are only suspects and have not been convicted yet. It is costly for the state to feed and maintain a higher population of offenders. Controller General of the Ghana Prison Service, Matilda Bafwewa, says their budget is woefully inadequate.
Everybody keeps on asking me, is it realistic to feed a person on 1 cedi 80 pesos in these difficult times? Yeah, I would say no. Well, because things are very, very expensive to come by. But we know we do bulk buying from contractors. So when things are bought in bulk, they are a bit cheaper than going to the market to buy it in pieces. But we also admit that even if you are buying in bulk, 1 cedi 80 pesos per prisoner amounts to nothing.
Here in the Sunyani prisons, there are a lot of inmates who cannot even wear shirts because of these skin diseases. There are some who have developed sores all over their bodies. This man, for example, has big sores from his head to his feet, and that has paralyzed him. He is also a remand prisoner, and in his present condition, he has to be carried to the court almost every 2 weeks. For years, his case is always adjourned. The nurse at the Sunyani Central Prison's Infirmary, Sergeant Swale Salifu, attends to over 70 inmates with these skin diseases. He confirms some have even died as a result.
These things comes about as a result of immunity. You know, here it is said that prisoners are not fed well. Sometimes the relatives come to supplements. Those who don't have their relatives coming to supplement, they take the raw food here, and that doesn't help about their immunity. So when your immunity is very low and you have such infection, that could result into some of these severe skin disease that you saw yesterday.
My name is Seth Kwame Boateng. Today, I am taking you to 4 of our prisons, Tamale, Sunyani, Kumasi, and in Nsawam prisons, to hear the harrowing stories of remand prisoners and how the massive congestion in there makes them live under extremely inhumane conditions. These are people who have been locked and forgotten.
Okay, so this is Locked and Forgotten. Don't be mistaken. It's not a movie. This is not a prelude to any movie that is premiering later today. This is real life, and this is not any other place but Ghana. And Seth Kwame Boateng, he visited and brought us, all these realities that we're seeing for the first time on television.
Yes.
But one thing we haven't talked about, these rooms where these prisoners are kept, is there a fan? Do they have toilets, bathrooms?
Okay, so they don't have fans there, and they don't have toilets. Rather, they have two containers. One, they'll do the thing inside. That is when they are locked up. They are locked up around 5 p.m. and they are opened around 6 a.m. So they are locked up together with the two containers. So if you want to ease the same room, if you want to ease yourself, you do it inside the container in the room, then you cover it. Another person will go and use it till the next morning.
Wow.
And when they are opened, they have just a few toilets, so they queue. So if you're unable to run ahead of others to the place and you have diarrhea, you can just imagine what will happen to you. So these are the things happening in our prisons. And
so I have to ask you, so you brought us this, then what? So what? After this, what happens? What are you hoping will come out of this?
Okay, so I'm hoping authorities concerned will watch this and see for themselves things happening in there. Maybe this will push them to ensure that those on remand are moved to court. Those who don't have lawyers, maybe after they have watched this, they can get authorities concerned to assign lawyers to these people. Many of them are in there because they don't have lawyers. They don't have lawyers.
Amazing.
And if they had lawyers, maybe some would have left the prisons by now, because the offenses they committed, for which reason they have spent years as remand prisoners, maybe if they had been convicted, they would have finished that long ago.
Amazing.
But they are there languishing in jail.
Yeah, sure. Let me just wrap up by reading some of the messages that you forwarded on Facebook, because some of you are really watching. Shatta Lyrica says, I'm here watching. It's disgusting. Truly, the innocent ones should be released. People have been locked and forgotten. Cornelius Buddy says, sometimes some of the people there are always innocent, but the thing is that they don't know how to talk and present themselves. So please let's inquire very well, okay? And Piana says, let's free the innocent ones. I appreciate your comment, but this starts showing today.
Part one will go this evening, 7 p.m. Part 2 tomorrow, 7 p.m. On this same channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seth, thank you very much. You did a great job with this one. 5 prisons.
Yeah.
And you're still the way you are. I would have gotten lost in the middle somewhere. Thank you very much for sharing the story with all of us. Stay with us. We've got a lot more for you here on the AM show.
They have been charged but are yet to be convicted.
We have a total prisoner population of 15,014 in our custody. The capacity of our prisons in this country can hold only 9,875.
4 years, no police station, no court.
How's it not doing? How's it not doing? You're not a Mukurano. I have some. Do maybe at mid 50, go 48. Basa, this Muda, and will be doing now big drowned and send him one by and some of the back one.
Some of them have spent more years on remand than would have suffered if they had been convicted on the offenses they have been charged with.
Seth Kwame Boateng investigates Locked and Forgotten, a story about the struggles of remand prisoners.